Hello, this is Molly Reamer, and welcome to our Herbal Ally video for June as we move into a month of creativity and Tara and the summer solstice Litha, celebrating the summer and the heat of passion and renewal. So this video, I'm actually going to have a part 2 since I have a lot of allies. I've got a lot of allies this year for each month. And so I'm gonna split the video into a part 2 in the upcoming week. But for this one, we're going to explore our herbal ally and then a little bit about our goddess of the month, Tara. And I'm gonna go ahead and I have a little backup place over here for my candles so I don't have any fire mishaps. I have actually been to events where people's hair have caught fire with the candles too close, and I've actually been to events in which the altar caught fire and I had to beat it out with my shoe with a sleeping baby on my chest. So so be careful with candles, even though they look beautiful. So I'm going to go ahead and move those so we can get our cards in order. And I am using Maya Toll's illustrated series, so the illustrated crystallary, the illustrated bestiary, and the illustrated herbiary, as well as this card from the Goddess Oracle by Amy Sophia Marashinsky. We're actually going to start, though, with a little excerpt from Goddess Days, which has been re-released now, so you don't have to look at it and say, oh no, it's out of print. You can find it now as a standalone book by Nancy Blair on Amazon. So we're actually going to start with what she has to say about Tara here. Tara is a very multifaceted goddess, and she crosses cultures and traditions and has relationships to various countries and philosophies and spiritualities and all kinds of stuff. So she's a really interesting goddess, and I think she's a perfect representation of this fullness of summer. And we can see in her the multifaceted nature of our own lives. She's also, not only is she a multifaceted goddess who crosses cultures, she also has multiple aspects. So there's white Tara, there's green Tara, there's red Tara, there's black Tara, there's all kinds of Taras. And so each one has a different emanation or expression. So here we go from the Goddess Days book, though. She says, nurture the girl goddess who lives in your heart. Tara is the mother goddess of Tibet and India. Cultures from India to Ireland derive the names of their beloved earth mother from Tara. So across the culture, across the land, across the globe, from India to Ireland, have names for the earth mother that come from Tara. So there's the Hebrew Terra, there's the Latin Terra Mater, Terra Mater, there's the Etruscan Turan, and then there's Ireland's Tara as well, or Terra. So Terra, Tara, etc., Terra Mater, there's all kinds of things. So anyway, in Hinduism, though, she's a star goddess, an unquenchable fire calling new life into being, hence the connection to our create theme. Often appearing as a celestial boat woman, that makes me think of the moon boat in Woman Runes, she carries the suffering from the shores of ignorance and illusion to the shores of awareness and knowledge. In Buddhism, Tara is the mother of all deities. She is prayed to for the relief of human suffering. Her many guises include a young and playful girl, she who laughs and knows the lighthearted games of life, which connects nicely to Bast, who we just finished working with for May, who's a playful goddess as well. So awaken the healing power of Tara's love. You are her girl child, or just her child in general. Your heart is filled with her song. Light a candle and call her name in your prayers. Ask for her compassionate blessings for your family and friends and for all people on earth. Take your girl self into your lap, or your child self into your lap, gently comforting them. What does this child hunger and thirst for the most? Listen quietly to the child's wishes. Imagine that Tara surrounds you both with love. Let the strength of her kindness heal the older wounds of your childhood. It is said that Tara is born from a tear. Let your tears flow. Let yourself float along the river of love, becoming part of the ocean of bliss. And an affirmation, Tara speaks through me with words of love and compassion. I speak with love, words of love and compassion could be an affirmation as well. And so another affirmation could be, I listen to the child within. I am surrounded by love. Couldn't it be another one? And so there's lots to share there. And so now, apologies for having this card on the screen for so long while I was actually not talking about it. Here we see Tara in several aspects. She's got multiple colors represented. And in iconography, we see her with multiple arms. She doesn't have multiple arms here, but often seated in a lotus and often with multiple arms for her many expressions. And so this one, as I said, is from the Goddess Oracle, Amy Sophia Marashinsky. That's one of my favorite decks, long-term favorite decks here. And so Tara originated in India. Her name means star. She's a major goddess in the Tibetan pantheon. She's known to help those who call upon her in tumultuous times of need to steer a clear path and find the stillness and strength within. She's also a goddess of self-mastery and mysticism. From the first tear of compassion, a lake was formed. From the middle of this lake, a lotus emerged. When it bloomed, Tara emerged. She was offered reincarnation in male form, but she swore to ever be incarnated as a woman. So Tara is here to remind you to center. It is time to nourish wholeness by going within. So an affirmation could be, I nourish wholeness by going within. And strengthening your center by focusing your awareness. Another affirmation could be, I focus my awareness. Let the turmoil of life go on without you. It's hard to hear your own voice in the midst of the frenzy of life. Go into the quiet, go into the calm. When you return, you'll be stronger and more capable of dancing with what life has to offer. So an affirmation could be, I am capable of dancing with what life has to offer. And that can really be a core affirmation for this month. I dance with what life has to offer. Okay. So we've got several things. So I'm going to actually save, I'm going to briefly share, we have our animal ally, which is interestingly the house mouse. This is one of those ones where I thought about picking a different one and then I decided to just go ahead and work with it. And I only later realized how it's an interesting pairing since we had Bast as our goddess, the cat goddess, and we focused on, and then we talked about the tabby cat, etc. So how funny to have the mouse also come into play as well with a core message of working together. So we're actually going to explore that card in a companion video of the supplemental allies, but I just wanted to mention that the mouse is the animal ally. And then our herbal allies, we have two. The core herbal ally is the white willow with the ways of water. And then our next one from the Herb Crafters Tarot is Linden. We're actually going to come back to Linden later. This is actually Linden on my grid here. You can see along the edge, I've got dried linden there. And so they actually both work together really well. They're great complements to one another, but we're going to explore the Linden card later. I just wanted to also mention that the supplemental herbal ally is Linden for this month. So white willow, excuse me, Tara. White willow is our core herbal ally. I actually used to take willow quite often. It's good for headaches, but you can't, if you overtake it, it can be irritating to the stomach. So anyway, I've taken a lot of willow in my life. White willow has been a useful herbal ally to me on a personal level. So we're going to go ahead and go over to see what Maya has to say about white willow. So this is our illustrated herbiary, white willow section. Most people think of willow as graceful and soft, a beautiful tree with weak wood. She is happy to let you have your delusions because underground she sends her expansive roots questing for water, the element of emotion, which feeds her extraordinary flexibility. And so I kind of love that connection. We're doing this Back to the Roots series on the Goddess Magic Mystery School Patreon in June. And so how nice that willow is nourished by deep roots, because that is what we are being nourished by as well, as our own deep roots. So expansive roots questing for water. Willow loves to dunk her feet, sampling the flow of feelings, tasting anger and joy, sorrow and sass. So you might say, affirmation-wise, I sample the flow of feelings. I dunk my feet in the current of the sacred. Pliancy allows her to have great empathy without becoming overwhelmed by the emotions of others. Instead, they flow through her like water. My emotions flow through me with ease. My emotions flow through me with water, like water could be other affirmations. If you find yourself armoring up to handle high emotions, call on Willow to teach you the ways of water. And I feel like it's a great connection to summer too, because we often swim and spend time in the water in the summer. And so I listen to the ways of water. There's also a ritual suggestion for working with water. And this can help you handle your emotions. So in the morning, fill a bowl with water and place it in a special spot. If you have loose linden, Linden or willow. You might also put some linden or willow into the bowl of water. Maybe put it in your garden or on a sunny windowsill. When you encounter strong emotions, instead of holding on to them, envision sending them into your bowl of water. At the end of the day, offer your water to the earth or to a potted plant, asking that your spent feelings be composted to help something new to grow. Notice how you feel on days that you use this ritual. Notice how the water softens and dilutes intense feelings and keeps them from overwhelming you. And so you may, if you are sensitive to the emotions of others and take on other people's feelings, you may wish to send those feelings to the water instead of letting them swamp you. Another thing to reflect on when we consider Willow is to reflect on what is stagnant in your life. If you feel like you're getting yanked hither and yon by the pull of your feelings or by the pull of other people's needs, call on Willow to remind you of the importance of letting emotions flow and then go. Emotional waters are not meant to be stagnant. Still water breeds disease and blood-sucking mosquitoes, and nobody wants that. Call on Willow to remind you to stay open so that emotions can flow through you with grace. So an affirmation could be, I remember to stay open. I stay open. I stay open to what is. I stay open to the flow of life. I stay open to what's unfolding. So some questions to consider. Do you know the difference between thoughts, which happen in your head, and feelings, which happen in your body? Can you have a feeling without putting it into words? When you give words to a feeling, do you then chew them like a cud, masticating and replaying the same words over and over again? So do you repeat? I feel so, terrible about this, or I feel this is so bad, and repeat it over and over, kind of chewing it over instead of letting it flow. So that is an important aspect to consider with Willow and what Willow invites us to explore. And let's see, with my extra hand. So I'm trying my little neck thing again. I don't know that it's going to work because I personally am distracted by the wiggling of how it's kind of, it came with a little strap. This is a side note. It came with a little strap for like strapping it around your chest, but I still think it would wiggle because I'm still breathing. And so I'm not sure how. I want to be breathing, so nothing wrong with breathing, but I find I'm still having to steady it with my hand, even though it's supposed to be this hands-free device. I'm still having to steady it with my hand. Otherwise, it's kind of twisting and moving as I breathe. So my apologies about that. I'll get it figured out. Maybe this is what happens when I'm trying to be more professional with my filming setup, and instead it's actually even a little bouncier and jerkier than it is when I just do it with my little one hand. So we'll see what happens. But instead of continuing to chew over that, masticate that one, I'm going to move to our crystal ally for the month. And this time we got clear quartz. And so you may already be familiar with clear quartz because we have our clear quartz wands, which we've been using to activate the grid as our seasons, as our wheel of the year continues to unfold. And so these were part of our December ritual kit. And so we already have clear quartz represented because clear quartz is such a powerful, not only just an amplifier, but also an activator of other things. And so I almost replaced this because I'm like, well, we already have clear quartz. But then I thought it was a good time, this midpoint of the year is a good time to revisit and to clear things away and to activate new things as well. So, and also I like to trust the cards and not replace them with other things, because sometimes replacing them with other things is more convenient for me. And sometimes I think, well, maybe it's okay to let things be convenient for me. Well, but also, what are we missing if we push aside the thing that feels inconvenient and get what's more convenient? I think sometimes there's a real balance in life between effort and ease, and it's okay for some things to allow some things to be easy, of course, but it's also okay to push a little, to work through discomfort, to work with something that isn't going that well, and see what can be learned there instead of only seeking what is comfortable. So that's not the message of quartz, but that's the message of picking something that's not quite what you wanted and being tempted to replace it with something else. So sometimes there's discernment. Sometimes there's wisdom in replacing it with something else, and sometimes there's wisdom in working with what you have, and that's part of what life itself invites us to consider all the time. So anyway, the only thing from clear quartz, it is said that in ancient Asia, people would put clear quartz outside a temple to collect the energy of the monks' prayers. An egg waiting to be hatched, a song waiting to be sung. Clear quartz is a basket, a womb, the potential to become. And ancient healers knew this. Some say they used clear quartz wands, yay, allowing it to amplify and direct the energy they generated within themselves. What if, Clear Quartz asks, you didn't need a bunch of sacred tools? What if you only needed to learn how to grow an intention, direct it with your will, and amplify its effects? What would you create? What problems could you solve? What could you put down if clear quartz was the only thing? Oh my goodness, how ironic. What could you put down if clear quartz was the only thing you needed to pick up? And so again, with the back to the roots theme, I think we're invited to consider, like, when we go back to the roots, when we choose what to put down, like, let's put it down and then pick up what is sacred and leave the rest behind. And so if we didn't feel like we needed that much and we were only picking up the clear quartz, what would we create? And so that is interesting to consider. So another ritual that goes with clear quartz is, and this really connects really beautifully to our Willow, and letting the water hold the emotions. This one is talking about clear quartz kind of holding things for you. So if incoming energy from other people is overwhelming you, clear quartz can help. Choose a pocket-sized clear quartz crystal or one that you can wear as a pendant. In the morning, set the intention to send excess energy that you encounter throughout the day to your crystal. Each evening, reset the crystal by laying it in a bed of salt overnight. Make sure to use dry salt and not salt water. And this is like rebooting your computer to factory settings. You can erase bugs and glitches, but you'll also lose things you've intentionally added. Be sure that you have one crystal dedicated to this ritual, knowing that at the end of each day, it will get a hard reset. And I also keep in mind that salt is not good for all crystals. So yeah, but it's a good cleanser, but it's not always the best for all kinds of crystals. So clear quartz works well with it, but do some research depending on which crystal. Don't just put all your crystals in the salt. And so another thing to reflect on, when you pick up a piece of clear quartz from the earth, it feels clean, empty, and neutral. I do love clear quartz for that purpose, because it's so clarifying, cleansing, and resetting, as well as amplifying. It is full of the possibilities of its own becoming. Returning spaces, objects, and attitudes to their neutral state creates potential for something new to happen. So what in your life needs a reset? Maybe it's a physical space like your desk or altar. Maybe it's a belief or conviction. If you could return one aspect of your life to the factory settings, what would it be? How would a reset allow for more options in your life and an expanded sense of what is possible? So, what do you need to reset? As you go back to the roots, what do you want to clear away to the factory setting? And so this video is getting very long, and we're going to go ahead and close with the Tara card from my own Story Goddess Oracle. Our theme, as I previously shared, is create. An affirmation: I create my life with joy. Settle in, soften up, keep your promise to let your own work hold and nurture you. There is so much magic right beneath your fingertips. Let it carry you, let it nourish you. Commit to discovery, to exploration, and to joy. And then Tara's little poem. Listen, I speak of infinite compassion, unity, and sacred sound. In stillness and silence I speak, and the world is born. I know the wisdom that blooms from time in the dark. Everyday enlightenment is right beneath my feet. And it really is. Everyday enlightenment is right beneath your feet. So may you take time to go back to the roots this month. May you be flexible and allow your feelings to flow. And may you consider what needs a reset in your days. Thanks so much for being here. Keep living your magic, everybody. Bye-bye now.